Time now for Focus. Many of you no doubt start each day with a caffeine fix from a state-of-the-art coffee machine. In recent years, the demand for such single-serve capsule machines has rocketed. In France alone, 1 billion aluminium pods are used each year. And more often than not, they're thrown away and not recycled. The city of Hamburg has already banned them from government buildings, but elsewhere, the pressure is piling up on manufacturers to clean up their act.
Whether at home or at work, these coffee machine pods are becoming more and more available. They're made from aluminium, one of the best materials around for locking in flavour. Why do you buy these coffee capsules?
Because they're simply the best.
They're quick to use, really quick, and taste really good.
Their simple concept has been one of the main reasons for their success. More than 9 billion are sold worldwide every year. That's around 40,000 tonnes of aluminium, the equivalent of 4 Eiffel Towers. But not so much is known as regards to recycling them. But do you know what bin to put the capsules in?
No.
The capsules first need to be sorted with cardboard and newspapers. They then end up in specific recycling plants equipped with special machinery, like this one here in Nanterre, to the west of Paris.
The difficulty with sorting these capsules is that they measure less than 9 centimeters across, so manual sorting is impossible as they're too small.
By using magnetic fields, this machine can pick out all the pieces of aluminium.
As the aluminium is sensitive to this magnetic field, it will be separated from the rest of the waste and collected in this crate.
But only 18 out of France's 200 recycling centres are fitted with it, due to its expensive price tag, 150,000 euros, meaning that most French capsules are left out of the process. What's more, the capsules aren't just made of aluminium, but also of plastic and coffee grounds, meaning that specific furnaces for burning metals cannot be used. In Germany, they've decided to use pyrolysis, or using high temperatures and an absence of oxygen to break down plastic and coffee grounds while carefully extracting the aluminium. But the process is expensive and the idea's not really taken off in France.
When used on an industrial scale, a pyrolytic furnace costs about 1 million euros. There aren't really any short-term benefits, just longer-term ones.
This factory melts down the capsules once they've been cleaned in Germany. The aluminium collected from these furnaces, after having spent 3 hours at 700 degrees Celsius, is used to produce car motors. The sector's brand leader hopes to one day be able to produce a new coffee capsule made entirely from a used one. That's because recycling aluminium means recycling 95% of the energy originally used and essentially reducing costs. They've been working on a new method. Once the capsules have been collected, they're transferred to the Netherlands to be cleaned, then to Italy to take off any lacquer and melted down into bars, then back to Germany where they're turned into sheets, and finally off to Switzerland to re-become capsules again. A complicated process. Some believe it might be more environmentally friendly to just return to using coffee straight from a packet.
Compared with coffee packs made from material that we already know how to recycle and containing 250 grams of the product, a pod only has a few grams, so the environmental impact is vastly different.
France has recently been stepping up efforts to reuse aluminium, increasing their recycling rates of the material from 32% in 2012 to 43% in 2016.
For more on this, I'm now joined in the studio by Flore Berlingen. She's the head of Zero Waste France. Hello, thank you very much for coming in. Now, do you think it's time then for people, based on what we just saw in that report, to go without these capsules, these coffee capsules?
Absolutely. Well, what we can see in the report is that the recycling process is not easy, it's expensive, and it's not even environmentally really good because it's very energy intensive, and so the best solution remains to avoid the single-use capsules and just use other ways of preparing coffee. Even espresso can be made different way.
Now, as I mentioned in the introduction to that report, the city of Hamburg has banned these capsules and other disposable products from government buildings. Do you think that more cities across Europe or across the world should follow that example?
Yes, that's what we advocate for when we meet municipalities. We don't really want them to invest millions of euros in those machines that we can see in the report, because this is not a long-term investment, in our opinion, of course. Because what circular economy really is about, and what we want, is not only recycling. Recycling is only the third type of circular economy, and before that you should think about like preventing waste, of course, and reusing. And reusing packaging is always the best solution compared to recycling, because recycling destroys the materials in the first place.
So there's been a lot of emphasis in the last few years on recycling, and for example, here in the office we have recycling shelves or areas where you're meant to put paper and everything. But what you're saying is that in the first place you should try to avoid any kind of waste. You mentioned packaging, and here in France that remains a major issue in supermarkets particularly, doesn't it?
Yes, packaging in general, especially for bottles, for example. We did use reusable bottles a few years ago, a few dozens of years ago, with deposit systems, and this meant that the bottle would be reused like maybe 20 times before it got recycled. And that's what we are promoting now. We should reinvest time and money into those systems, because they really are the circular economy that would be the most sustainable in the long term.
Now, where does France stand when it comes to tackling waste compared to other European countries? We've seen the initiatives in supermarkets, the law that was introduced just over a year ago. Has that really been applied? Is France making progress?
We're making progress. We still have a long way to go, but we're making progress with bans on some materials or some single-use items, which is very important, such as, of course, plastic bags, but not only. And also we've been making good progress on bio-waste, which is another major issue in terms of domestic waste, because the bio-waste should be now sorted and composted by 2025, which is a big revolution that is coming, and which will dramatically reduce the quantity of waste that is being currently buried into landfills or burnt in incinerators.
Now, the government and big businesses is one thing, but then, of course, people can make a difference just in their own homes. And I understand that you recently opened up a zero waste centre and that there's been a lot of enthusiasm for it.
Yes, we just opened our place dedicated to zero waste lifestyles and zero waste strategies in general. It's in Paris, and that's a place where people can find solutions to reduce waste at home, but also in groups like at the office or with their neighbors. And so you can find many solutions to reduce packaging waste or waste in the bathroom. You have many solutions available right now to reduce to like a few kilograms per month the amount of waste you produce.
So if you can't make it to the centre here in Paris, then you've got some tips on a website, I imagine?
Yes, of course. On zerowastefrance.org you can find many advice, yes.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time. Make sure you check out the website. Thank you very much, Flore Berlingen from Zero Waste France. Thank you for watching. That's it for Focus. We'll go to a break and I'll be back in a few minutes.